Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Keeping Up With Conspicuous. Today, we are joined by the lovely Nitesh, who is Head of Business Development at Dynamic Square, which is a Microsoft Solutions partner. Love the background that you've got going on. Looks very professional, but thank you so much for joining. How are you today?
Thank you so much, Lucy, for hosting me. Absolutely excited for this session today, and looking forward to discuss more around the ERP projects and how it can eventually help the business. So we're looking forward to the session. Thank you.
No worries. Well, obviously, I'll start by saying I know Nitesh was quite happy to answer any questions live on the podcast. So if you are watching and you think of anything interesting you do want to ask, please drop them in the comments. But Nitesh, a little bit about yourself. So, what's your background? How did you end up to where you are today?
So I started off working as the BDM at Dynamic Square way back in 2017. And now I'm leading the sales and go-to-market for the company. So started off, working cold calling, prospects in the UK, really understand about the requirement and how we can help them with with the operations and streamline their operations there. So
Yeah.
that's how it started to now leading a team. And yeah, you learn a lot through the journey. So really thankful to everyone who has, really helped me in this overall journey. So yeah.
Absolutely. And have you worked with Microsoft before Dynamic Square?
Not really, not directly to be honest. I did worked on some campaigns, but not primarily with Microsoft per se. And more so with ERP, it was probably the first time I did help clients around the ERP.
Oh
But
wow.
now, absolutely,
So you've learned a lot in your time.
indeed, listen.
And so Dynamic Square, obviously you're a Microsoft Solutions partner, as mentioned. So what areas do you guys cover? Is it just
Uh, so
ERP?
we so we do everything around the Microsoft Dynamics. So ERP is one part of that. We also do CRM applications, which are around sales, customer service, marketing, and field service. Uh, and then you add a layer of Power Platform, the applications like
Yeah.
Power Apps, Power BI, and Power Automate. So it's a complete end-to-end digital transformation that we do for our clients. ERP is definitely is a big part of that, but then we also bring in our expertise around other applications to really give that advantage to our clients.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I know we are going to focus more on the delivery of ERP projects today. So that's sort of where we're going to have our focus. And I know we wanted to talk a little bit more about how people can actually prepare for a successful ERP. Now, I think we all know every project will come with its hurdles, and it's how you sort of get over them that makes it successful. But from what you've seen over since 2017. So is it last 8 years? Is it? What
Absolutely.
what tick boxes would you say you find have been the most successful?
Sure. So there are certain elements that every business should eventually take care of when they are selecting the ERP and the partner. So the first and foremost is that there should be a project sponsor or a manager in-house who can manage the resources, the team, and making sure that the entire business is aligned with this project. Someone who really understand the processes that is a must-have. Uh, in certain scenarios, what happens is that you have to have a consistent team. So in any ERP implementation, analysis and deployment phases are absolutely critical. And there has to be a consistency. So which means that the team which is involved in the analysis phase should eventually do the training and testing of the application. That is something which is critical. Second
Yes.
is that there has to be a buy-in from the management. There has to be a strong why for going ahead with an ERP implementation, and that eventually is managed from the top management. It goes towards the mid level and eventually the end users who will be using the application. So there are
Okay.
certain areas which should be there. Along with that, wish list should be avoided. So when you do the requirement understanding and when you're trying to implement an ERP, you end up bringing a lot of wish list. Uh, which probably might not be required in phase one. So whatever is must have or critical for the business, I think that is something should be discussed. So yeah, if we have a strong team, someone who can really guide and lead the team internally, and obviously coordinate with the partner, that really
Yeah.
helps a lot, for our partners like us. And then there are a series of points that we discuss in an implementation project that really helps the business.
Okay, yeah, definitely some really interesting points there. I think we definitely, in another podcast as well, definitely highlighted how that relationship and the communication between partner and end, oh, excuse me, I just need a drink on, partner and end user have to really gel together to make it successful. Now, what would your advice be? So I know we mentioned that selecting the right partner is quite a big part of preparing for an implementation. So what would your advice be to end users who were trying to find the right partner? How would you know it's the right partner for you?
Uh, there are again a number of exercises, activities that business can do. First and foremost is, does your partner understand your industry? Do they really have the use cases for supporting that implementation? I think that is something which is important. They should know a bit more about your business and how they can help you. Along with that, in terms of how they can bring in more automation, if it is something which is a must-have, should be discussed. Then, when you discuss with the partner, you should also focus on if they are really listening, or they're saying yes to every requirement that you are sharing. If they are committing that whatever you're sharing they will end up doing it, then it's a red flag. The reason is that the partner should question you why you are doing what you're currently doing, and perhaps what is the best way of doing that. And this is where consulting experience of partner really helps. He can they can really bring in the expertise in terms of what they have done for the competitions, or for, let's say, for the companies, and if that can be replicated into this business. So that is something is required. Along with that, so when you go for a discovery call, let's say with a partner, the next steps are also very important in terms of what solution they are proposing. And the proposal, is it really outlining the expectations, or is it something which they are trying to sell? A lot of times we have understood that the clients have reached out to us stating that they were sold some add-ons, they were some licenses which probably were not required, because some of those add-ons might be a standard feature in Microsoft Dynamics. So there's no point in overcomplicating things, adding something which you might not be even using it on a day-to-day level. So that is something which is important. And the team, who someone who should have the expertise, not only from the product perspective, but from the process perspective. For instance, something, partners like us, we don't even probably discuss about the technology during the analysis phase. It's the processes that we follow, we focus on, and how that can be streamlined with the likes of Dynamics 365. So yeah, if all these points are covered, you're good to go with a partner. And to add on to that, is a timeline. What is being committed, it is being
Yeah.
delivered, or will it be delivered, or will there be any challenges around that? So what we believe is that in ARP project, you have to work as a one team for making it successful. The partner and the client has to work as a single team, and a lot of communication barriers should be avoided, because businesses right now are going a lot through, they are facing a lot of challenges. So the last thing they want is a partner who can, is overcomplicating things for them. So
Yeah.
you have to make things simple for the client, and this is something which a partner should eventually do.
Absolutely. Once again, loads of points covered there that I think are really vital and really useful for people to know. I think it's such a competitive industry nowadays. A lot of partners are covering Dynamics 365, and because that's what we're sort of focusing on at the minute. But it is competitive, and I think end users have got a lot of choice, but finding that right one is quite difficult to do. And I think, yeah, what you've just listed off there is really beneficial, and I think a lot of people will really take that on board. I think one thing you really mentioned, well, you mentioned at the start that really sort of made me think about what I've seen be successful from my perspective is that industry knowledge. You obviously get partners that have, just focus on anything and everything. And you've got those partners that are really industry specific. And you see a lot of, obviously, it's very market dependent and how up and down it is, but you see a lot of
Absolutely.
that specialize in an industry that really take off because you've got so much knowledge in that area, and that really can build the trust, and they believe that you actually know what's going to be beneficial to their company. So I think that's quite important when trying to pick as well. So yeah, I think lots of points covered. What would you say in your, from what you've seen, what's been the biggest red flag you've seen when people have selected partners?
Said so there are a number of things that there has to be thorough commitment. Overcommitment should not be there. Some of the time, partners probably sell you something, some add-ons, some automation, maybe some AI tools which are very popular now, which you probably may not require from the day one. I think that is something which should be there. And along with with your internal resources and managing the consistency of the team, the partner should also have the consistency. So usually there should be the same team that should be working on implementation and the post-go live support. Sometimes we have found that companies reach out to us when they went live with Dynamics 365 and they don't get the support,
Mm,
which was probably very prominent when they were implementing the solution. I think that is something which should be taken care of.
mm,
Perhaps you should discuss about the post-go live scenarios, what sort of support they will get, what agreements would be in place, and who they can reach out to, and along with that, how seamless it is. Sometimes we have found that exchanging emails for support tickets, can really drag things, and sometimes it's better for the partner just to to call the client or probably connect on the Teams using a common Teams group just to speed things up because miscommunication can really hinder the process,
yeah,
especially when you are implementing a solution like Dynamics. And we only we believe that implementation is just one part of it. It once you go live, then you get to know a bit more about the partner and are they really committed to provide support in the same way they implemented Dynamics 365 for you. So discuss about the scenarios, what sort of support they they can get, and along with that, the transparency has to be there. So
yeah,
there should not be too many agreements, for different types of service request. So I think if you can, as a partner, make things simple for the clients, I think that has really been appreciated well, especially in the market like UK and you see.
definitely, definitely. And going back to the market, especially this year. So I know the past 2 years have definitely been difficult. And I think we were all under the impression 2025, it was going to be fantastic. We're going to see loads of improvement. From my perspective, I don't know whether you agree, it hasn't sort of had that, you know, great increase we were sort of expecting. It's sort of been a little bit of a slower burner still. We're 6 months into the year. So I know from speaking with clients and people in the industry, winning projects is still very, very difficult, and getting them over the line, it is still quite hard. So how have you overcome that? Obviously, you've been with Dynamic Square a very long time. You've definitely probably seen it in its highest and lowest because every business goes through that. What's your advice for partners at the moment and being able to actually win these ERP projects?
I think as a partner, you should listen more and speak less. I think that is something which I would highly recommend.
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, because so what happens when a business is trying to discuss about the requirement, they're really trying to share their frustration, challenges with you, and so it's very important to really listen to them and be empathetic towards their requirement. I think that is something which is important. And along with that, do not push selling a solution. Try to solve a problem. I think that is very important. If you're just trying to sell bells and whistles, automations and all, which probably are not aligned with their requirement, I don't think they probably will go ahead with you. So yeah, that's something which I've learned throughout my journey, Lucy. It's really understanding the requirement, pain areas, and what extra you can bring in along with ERP. Can you bring in some automation? Can you bring in some perhaps CRM applications deployment? Probably around reporting as well. There are a lot of reports available within Microsoft Dynamics, but can
Yes.
you bring in some more Power BI reports to really help them build those reports? Most of the clients usually end up using at least 5 to 7 reports, which are absolutely critical for them. So if you can bring in, that will be helpful of the client. Uh,
Mm.
so yeah, I think it's a complete package. So there is no one specific point. Uh, and to add on to that, solutioning is also very important. What you are recommending, is ERP the right fit for them? So we have found a lot of companies who probably should just stick with the accounting application. They do not need any ERP application just to overcomplicate things.
Okay.
But then that also happens because of the lack of awareness about the applications which are out there. You're trying to add some wish list and hoping that an ERP would solve that, but you probably will overcomplicate things for you. So yeah,
Mm.
I think if you really have the why, you really have the core processes around your finance, accounts receivables, payables, production, warehousing. If all those processes needs to be streamlined, ERP is your application to go for. uh, but yes, if it is something which is simpler, you're not that massive business, and even if let's say you are a massive business, ERP will just be the backbone. You probably would need to bring in some other applications around your perhaps AP automation, warehousing solution, ADI for connecting your e-commerce store to Dynamics 365. So yeah, there are series of scenarios happening in any implementation. So I think that is something which is very important, for the client and obviously for the partner to really select the right client as well to work with.
For sure. I think so many clients, and I think if end users are listening to you now, would really really appreciate the fact you're so transparent and actually happy to be like, actually no, like this isn't going to solve your problem, like, and then giving that advice onwards. I think there would still be companies, especially in a market where it's a little bit trickier, and of course businesses want to make money, that might push a solution onto a client where it actually might not need that. And I think it's really refreshing hearing you as someone who sells the product actually be like, well no, if it doesn't benefit the business we're going to work with, we'll tell them that. And I think that's really nice. And the quote that I think is going to stick with me this podcast is talk less, listen more. I think that's so key. So say if I was a client and the solution I was saying was an ERP solution I wanted and it wasn't quite right, how do you approach that then? Do you just say, sorry, that's this is a situation that doesn't really suit what you're looking for, and then give them other options? Or how does that work from there? Because obviously you've got the relationship then, because they've definitely got your trust.
So to Lucy, so yeah, say this is something which at times happen when a company is trying to automate their, let's say, HR operations
Yeah.
or probably retail operations. ERP just cannot solve that. There are number of good solutions and POS solutions for retail stores out there which are available. So we usually discuss that requirement in detail and let them know that ERP might not be the right fit. Looking at they already have a good enough ERP application to manage their backend operations. So you probably need not to rewrite or redo things. So it's better for you to probably opt in for some HR or retail focused POS softwares. And along with that, sometimes it's about bringing in automation with your e-commerce store. So
No.
ERP can certainly help, but it's not the only application that is required. So we usually say the business upfront about what they should do, and if they are really ready for an ERP, we can probably talk again, let's say in 6 months or 9 months, depending upon the requirement. But I think it's more about being upfront and letting the business know what is right for them, rather than that what is right for you. I think that really solves the problem for them.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that that's really good that you're so open with clients to be able to actually be like, there are other things, even if it's not, what you originally thought. So that's really good. And obviously from your side, I know you've sort of mentioned there are different solutions, and we know there's a CRM side and there's the ERP side, and sometimes clients don't really know what it is they want. I
Hmm.
don't know if, I'm just intrigued to hear from your side this year in terms of the market and what I've seen. So I've seen a really big uptake, and I think BC for the last couple of years has definitely been something that companies have implemented more. So we're seeing a lot of uptake in the BC space. How how has the CRM side been for you? What's the difference between the projects you've seen kicking off this year? Has it been more BC on the ERP side? Has CRM, is it still, are people still sort of
Hmm.
getting it this year? What's your views on that?
It's more BC than CRM for us, Lucy.
Yeah,
And I think it's what's again, it's important to understand and let the business know what is the difference between an ERP and a CRM.
yeah.
ERP is all about your back-end operations, your finance, accounts payable, receivables, inventory, warehousing, production, project management, a bit of HR. If you're
Let's
looking at streamlining those processes, ERP has to be there. But if you have a full-fledged sales team and you really do outreach to your prospective clients, have a decent amount of clients that you work with, then CRM solution comes in. It's more front end. It's more dealing with outside the world. Really understanding the client requirement, processes, and how you can solve them. In application like Dynamics 365, especially Business Central, there is a limited CRM functionality available, especially for businesses that rely a lot on repeatable business and just want
Yeah,
to manage basic, leads, opportunities, and quotations. But we always recommend if you really have a full-fledged sales process, then you should bring in the CRM as well. Probably discuss that during the phase one itself, because what happens when you are as a partner, if you are really understanding their business processes, especially the analysis phase, discussing both about ERP and CRM really helps. It doesn't matter if you do it in phase one or phase two, depending upon the requirement. But if as a business you really have plans to automate your sales processes, you should discuss about it. And I think it also comes down to the partner's capability. Can they really do both ERP and CRM? Sometimes we have found that some of the clients that have reached out to us is they were managing different partners for different applications. You have a
yeah,
different partner for ERP, another application for CRM. Someone else is managing your licenses. So why not you have one single partner who can just manage everything for you? You can obviously discuss about the requirement and the use case. But yeah, I think it's again comes down to the requirement. Whatever is must have. If it is must have, deploy that both the applications is phase one, and then perhaps we can discuss on the nice to have functionalities, probably in phase two, phase three. Also on the CRM side, there is another layer of other applications like marketing, customer service, and field service, which can be useful for the company. So we probably get a lot of inbound queries, for the post, from the customers, and obviously want to manage the marketing campaigns. So Dynamics 365 applications really serves a purpose. The best
yeah,
part is that the seamless integration is there directly from Microsoft. So you're not relying on any partner to do the integration. So yeah, I think it's a number of scenarios that we usually discuss during the initial phase of the implementation.
yeah, definitely. And just off the back of that, I know you mentioned that some people, like some businesses you've seen, with the CRM and ERP side, have had two different partners on each side. Um, in I can only assume that would maybe encounter a few more hurdles doing it that way than to have the same partner on both sides. Have you sort of seen the two extremes? Like, yeah.
Absolutely, Lucy. So there have been a number of scenarios where clients have reached out showing their frustration. Because what happens is that eventually you need the integration between ERP and CRM. These two applications cannot work, standalone. If you really are trying to, automate your back office along with sales front end operations, uh, ideal scenario would be that you should have one partner who can really, talk, from your business perspective language and can get things done. Otherwise, you end up managing the integration and between these two partners, and that at times can really uh, you know uh, hinder things. I'm not saying that every situation is like that. They are good partners that are doing some great things for both the scenarios. Uh, but yeah, if you really have as a business, if you really are looking to automate your front end operations as well, discuss that upfront with the potential partner, see their capabilities if they really can do the job, and if they already have some use cases. I would also recommend, for complex implementations, talk to the client references of the partner to really get a feel of what it has been working like with them. And in some of these complex implementation, if there is a use case is involved, it's always recommended to visit the client, the references as well to really get a feel of what has been deployed. So yeah.
I think it definitely adds another layer to it. As you know, going back to the start of our conversation, we said picking that partner is really important. So I feel if you have two separate partners, and as you said, there are definitely success stories that are out there where two partners have done the ERP and CRM side, but you've then got to think as a business owner, how is it going to work between those two partners? Are they going to work well together? Is it going to have the best outcome? I think it just adds another layer where then there could there could form a few more hurdles, but it's not to say that's always going to be the case. I guess it just adds a little bit more continuity if it's the same partner, which completely get. Now, it wouldn't be a Keeping Up with Conspicuous podcast if we didn't mention AI. Obviously, it's got to be brought up. It's a solution that is taken by storm this year. We've all known it's been there for a few years. Well, I say we all in the IT space, we've all know it's been around for a fair few years. But it's really excelled back end of last year in 2025 this year. So, what would your advice be to businesses out there that you're selling ERP or CRM solutions to? What you know what what value does AI bring to them? How do they sort of make sure it's the right decision for them? What have you seen? Because I assume your sales pitch and your processes have had to change and adapt to be able to help to give the right advice in this area.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I think we are living in this age of AI and agents. Copilot in Dynamics 365 really serves that purpose for companies and obviously for partners like us. So what AI is bringing in is bringing in a lot of automations in terms of making things simpler for the end users and for the clients. Uh, for instance, AI, can summarize the emails for you if you're using a dynamic CRM application. It can set the tone. It can, read the email from a prospective client and reply back based on suggestions that it will provide to you. In the ERP Business Central space, you let's say if you are a user and you want to perhaps see, which are my top five clients for this quarter where we have generated number of revenues. You don't probably need to build a report for that. You can just, type in, in the application and the report would eventually come in. Along with that, it also, giving suggestions in terms of the items, like if you're running some email campaigns, selling some items to a prospective client, it can draft a summary and for you. So that is something which is quite helpful. Another interesting feature which I really like is the analyze feature in Business Central. For every page, let's say, if you want to get a summary of of the reports or probably what this page tells about the performance of the business. You just have to click on the analyze button, and it will give you the summary of what's happening in the business in terms of reports and how you can perform better. The number of scenarios which are there, I think we are just starting. It's the initial success of AI. This will eventually improve a lot as we move forward, especially in the next 3 to 5 years. A lot of automation Microsoft is bringing in, and we definitely discuss about the use case and see how AI can be helpful for our clients. If it is something which we should deploy in phase one, we straight away discuss that and recommend a solution. And if it is something which perhaps we can do in phase two, because AI at times also needs the data to pull in that report and that insights for you. So at times it's better to park that to phase two, but totally depend upon the use case, Lucy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think over time, as you said, these next 3 to 5 years, it is going to get bigger, it's gonna, take over a lot of different things and processes will change. So I think just from both the partner and the client aspect, you've just got to, you know, be adaptable to what's going to happen. But also I think that education piece is very important. As you said, whether you talk about it in phase one and phase two, it is just making sure it's right for the business and is actually input correctly into the business for it to have its benefits. So I think, yeah, we can't really predict what's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years, but yeah, I think for you guys, especially, with yourself who is sales, that education for you guys as well. And I don't know whether you learn by hands-on work and actually seeing it in motion, because I would do the same. But it's interesting because I know you go to quite a few conferences, don't you? Is that right?
Absolutely, and then that we
Yeah,
work tightly with Microsoft on that. So AI is definitely is a talking point. It's been there, I think, since last year or so, but is so too now. And we really make sure that we deploy those technologies for the clients. And
yeah,
yeah, and that means we're trying AI and Copilot things within Dynamics 365 and see the use case and discuss the requirement and potentially deploy that solution.
yeah.
So yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I go to these conferences and the stuff you learn, it is amazing. But as you said, it's just making sure it's right for that use case that you've got in front of you and having that trust. I think everything you've sort of said this podcast really does like a 360 loop and loops all together from start to finish. So honestly, I've really, really enjoyed speaking to you. I think we've covered quite a few
Likewise.
areas that we haven't actually discussed on the podcast before. So, it's nice to hear your honest and transparent views about this area in the ERP project. So thank you for that. Obviously, just before we wrap up, because I know we've both got jobs to get back to, but if we were to sort of have any last final thoughts, what would you say to the people watching?
All I can say is that ERP implementation is not that overcomplicated. It can be simpler as well, provided that you select the right partner. And it's about being opening up with the requirement and understanding the requirement, with the potential client. And yeah, all I can say is that understand the requirement and help your clients achieve more. So that's all I can say. And yeah, if there is anyone who probably will need any help around ERP implementation, they can always drop me a line on LinkedIn, and I'll be more than happy to assist you. But thank you, Lucy, for your time as well. It was great to be here, and yeah.
No worries. Well, I think the quote of the day is going to be for you partners out there implementing projects, talk less, listen more. I think that's really, really good advice there. And Nitesh, I know you've done podcasts before, but you've never done it live. And you've absolutely smashed it today. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. But yeah, as he said, if you've got any questions, drop him a connection, drop him a message. Nitesh is more than happy to answer questions. But yes, thank you so much for joining. Once we've ended the clip, if you just stay on, we can talk afterwards. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone, and we will see you next week for another episode of Keeping Up with Conspicuous.
Thank you.